RotoGrinders Daily Fantasy Podcasts are presented to you by Yahoo Fantasy Sports. This week 15, you need to be checking out Yahoo. They've got a $1 million guaranteed prize pool tournament, which also has the greatest value proposition in the history of DFS. $250,000 in guaranteed overlay in this contest. It's a $20 entry with only a 10 entry max. If you haven't signed up, make sure you go to rotogrinders.com/Yahoo and use promo code Grinders30 for a $30 matching deposit bonus on that first deposit. Check them out this week. It's Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's time for the RotoWorld RotoGrinders DFS Pick 6. I'm Eric Crane, and I'm joined every single week by these two guys who are some of the best in the business. First, we got Lord Reeves, Rich Hribar. Reeves, how we doing, buddy?
Doing fantastic, man. Is this like our second to last show or no?
Third, we do week 7. We have 15, 16, 17.
Do we do these week 17? Cool.
Yeah, of course we do week 17. We got to talk about Josh Dobbs.
We have the biggest edge.
Yeah, week 17 is the best.
That's like preseason, baby. It's like the preseason.
Bang, bang.
We should start doing this show for preseason. Like, I would 100% do this show.
I want to keep doing this show. I want to do as many of these as possible.
We should do the show for every single NFL DFS slate, running up the food chain. Why would we not do it for NFL playoffs? I think it's
fine with me. You hear that?
Dan, Cam, who do we got to get to, man? What Bears do we got?
I'll flex the muscle. I know what's going on. I love
Cal Spears.
Yeah, Cal.
I get him on. A quick call, man.
You get him on the speed dial.
Yeah, Cal.
You holler at him, tell him we need some playoff version of this show. I'm not ready to be done. Also joining us, of course, Evan Silva. Evan, what's up, buddy?
Doing well, man. Very excited for this. The full slate, the full Thursday through Monday slate. The actual main slate is trash. I mean, it's bad, but hey, that's what the vast majority of listeners and watchers are concerned with. I understand that, but I would encourage anybody, if you want to play actually good plays, do Thursday through Monday, man. I mean, beginning with potentially Justin Jackson, extending through that Rams-Eagles game, which looks real hot it's Sunday night, I believe. And then there are certainly some good plays in that Saints-Panthers game on Monday night. So I would encourage, if you want to play actually good plays, if you don't want to have to talk yourself into suboptimal plays, which you're going to have to on the main slate, man, hit that Thursday through Monday.
Suboptimal plays are the fun ones, though. That's when they get there, you get to do victory laps.
I mean, this was the first week all season that me and Evan really kind of went back and forth and hem-hawed on the third game we were going to pick for this, because the slate just has all these teams where there's like a terrible team involved in one of the games. We kind of kicked around like Cincinnati, Oakland or San Francisco, Seattle, and just settled on what had like the most like fantasy actual players in it, with that Baltimore Tampa game.
I'm glad we're talking Dallas and Indy later on. I'm a little bit surprised. I want to talk Oakland and Cincinnati later, because this game is like the cheap shootout. Because it's the exact same total, and the team's an exact same favorite in Cincy, Oakland as it is in Dallas and Indy. And literally one of them's going to have a ton of ownership. The other's not going to have any. So I kind of want to talk about that later. But let's go ahead and jump into the slate. And again, like Evan said, this is kind of a weird slate. We've got a ton of totals, a ton of games that are pretty much exactly the same. No real place to get that excited about unless you're wanting to stack up the Pittsburgh-New England game. And guess what? Everybody's going to be doing that. So we're going to have to find something a little bit different to do. So let's talk right away. Tampa Bay at Baltimore, 46.5-point total. Baltimore, 7.5-point favorites at home. And Reeves, we got weather issues here. It's supposed to be rain. Nothing too bad, though. And now we get a Bucs team that's traveling to Baltimore. They're playing a team that can get pressure on the quarterback. The prices of two guys went up, Chris Godwin and Adam Humphries. Meanwhile, the Mike Evans price, that went way down, 6.7K over on DK. It's a tough matchup for these Bucs. What do you think about Tampa Bay in this one, Reeves?
Yeah, I think this is a tough spot for him because of what Tampa Bay does well, and what they do well plays into the strengths of what the Ravens do. I mean, you look at when teams have had success against the Ravens this year, it's because they have a receiving tight end or a back out of the backfield that can catch passes, and the Bucs have neither of those two.
Ronald Jones week.
Like their whole offense is just centered on how well their receivers play. That's what their passing game is driven on, and that's a problem in this Baltimore Ravens matchup. I mean, they've allowed a 100-yard receiver all year. It was last week the Tyreek Hill, and they faced a lot of good receivers. They faced obviously the Steelers guys 2 times. They faced Michael Thomas. They faced Julio Jones. They've ran through a gauntlet of good players, and just none of these receivers have really popped outside of Tyreek last week. And you're talking about. You want to have guys like Cameron Brate. You want to elevate because the Ravens aren't good against tight ends. But if that dude just doesn't catch a pass inside the paint, like what are you getting out of him? And they're not, Peyton Barber and Jacquizz Rodgers. No one's playing any of these guys in this game. So what the Bucs do well plays, kind of like I said, hand in hand to what the Ravens do well. So I mean, Jameis is priced way down. I think the one out for Jameis is that he's rushed for 41 yards per game in his full starts. So, I mean, you might have that. You're getting a passing touchdown with his legs, if he doesn't turn the ball over. But his yardage has been way down here the past couple of weeks. So I'm a little concerned about where this Bucs offense can really find their ceiling on the road in Baltimore.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird spot because I look at this Baltimore team and, look, people want to play Chris Godwin. People want to play Adam Humphries, and I get it. But, Evan, how do I play those guys when Mike Evans is just 6.7K? That's the exposure I want from this Bucs team. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I mean, I think that the way that the Ravens defend these Bucs receivers is going to be very similar to the way that the Ravens defended the Falcons a couple of weeks ago, which was Jimmy Smith against the number 1, which was Julio, and now will be Mike Evans with safety help over the top. And then Marlon Humphrey, who the Ravens now consider to be their best cornerback. He pretty much shut down Calvin Ridley in that game, and now I think he will be on Godwin. That does not mean that, neither of these guys are going to get production. I think that this passing game, the way that it has been functioning lately, is in a much better spot than the Falcons were at that time. I think that one of the guys, Godwin or Evans, is probably going to have a decent game. But the way to attack the Ravens this year has been to throw the ball in the middle of the field. And Adam Humphries leads the team in targets over the last 3 weeks. He leads the team in receptions when Jameis has played this year. And the Ravens have not been necessarily giving really to any position except for tight end, actually. But, I think that if you're going to look at a guy I think it's everything on the Bucs is contrarian plays. It's everything is contrarian. People are not going to be using, Bucs players at Baltimore. Like that's going to be a situation that most people avoid. But this passing game for the Bucs, just the offense in general, has been largely matchup proof. And I mean, Jameis Winston last week, I know he didn't put up a monster game, but he was a top 10 quarterback last week. Cameron Brate was, he crushed. I also think that you could look at Cameron Brate, but I think that ultimately these guys are contrarian tournament options.
Yeah, I get the Adam Humphries thing. You attack Baltimore in the slot. I don't want to mess with Cameron Brate again. I'm going to be paying up at tight end once again this week. Reeves, are you into Adam Humphries this week?
I haven't been into him on FanDuel for a lot of weeks since his price got over that 6K range. What is it this week? I know I looked at it, and I just can't remember off the top of my head. He's been way overpriced on FanDuel for 3 or 4 weeks, just for the type of player he is. I just don't pay for that type of player really on FanDuel. So I mean, he's been fine on DK for most of the weeks, but I'm okay. I'm more in Evan's side of this. I really am only looking at the Bucs as far as a contrarian tournament stack, something like that. If you're going to play Lamar and look for a little cross stack action, because the Bucs have given up a ton of points on the road, almost 40 points per game. They've been on a stretch where they've played a bunch of home games in a row. Since the coordinator changed, so maybe we don't get a full-on overlap. And the Ravens aren't a type of offense that maybe can hang for it at anyone because what they do well slows the game down now and eats clock. But if you're going to make a stack for that game, that's where you're going to look for, because you're not really going to be targeting any of these offensive players, the Ravens, outside of Lamar.
Yeah, I'm just saying Mike Evans is just too cheap. I know the matchup's not good, and I know that it might not be the optimal play, but there are some guys when when they dive under 7K, like the talent's just there and I want to play him. And Mike Evans falls into that category. Speaking of talent, Lamar Jackson, newsflash, Evan, he's good. Lamar Jackson is good as a runner, not necessarily as a passer. You don't like? Oh, you're smirking at me. You don't like Lamar?
No, I am Lamar truther for sure.
All right. So talk to me about Lamar Jackson because as he goes, the Ravens offense go, and meanwhile, we're not used to seeing a Ravens offense with a freaking 4 touchdown implied team total. That is really high for Baltimore. But Lamar Jackson, he's got it rolling down there in Baltimore. So what do you think about him and the rest of this offense this week?
He's been real steady. We have not seen a ceiling game from him yet. Will it happen this week? I certainly wouldn't rule it out. Right now the narratives, the recency bias, small sample narratives are usually wrong in the NFL. Usually wrong. This is always one of the toughest things to decipher in the NFL is the seasons within the season. We understand that we can look back and, we could do a full, 14 game or 13 game look at every team, but what is actually going on with this team right now? And I think that the narrative right now for Tampa Bay is that their defense has been fixed by the new defensive coordinator, Mark Duffner, who replaced Mike Smith. However, they've played 3 straight home games. And if you adjust for home versus road, they're allowing 20.6 points per game at home. And they were allowing 39.8 points per game on the road. With, I think the lowest that they've allowed is 27 or 35, something like that. And so, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. First of all, we know that home road splits are real. You can – even the anti-defense truthers will admit that home road splits are real. Hermsmeyer, we can call him out. Frisco.
I saw you calling him out. You guys were about to start fist fighting, huh?
The NFL, the NFL, we and JJ were talking about this week too. It's like the NFL is like the one sport where home field advantage is such a big deal.
So huge.
It really plays out more than the other sports.
I'm telling you, man, every bad decision I've looked back and I've been like when we got to play Carson Wentz on the road at the Saints.
Yes.
Yeah, which was just the worst play ever. And I was just like, what was I thinking? I know that home field advantage is so important, man. And even last week, with Big Ben, I know it was just a very weird situation, but and he wasn't bad. Dude went 24 for 28, and I think he was a top 16 quarterback on the week, even though he missed a third of the game. But it's little things like that you don't even think about. Hey, he gets banged up in the game. You got it to go to the Raiders X-ray room. You have to run up 3 flights of stairs, and then if the X-ray machine isn't working, you got to start hitting it. And Ben goes down the sideline. He's we're waiting. He's got the backwards ball cap on. He's we're waiting for the results. We don't know. We did the X-ray, but here I am on the sideline. We're waiting for the results. If we can't get the results, I can't go back in the game. Finally, I guess they got the results, or they were just F it. We're about to lose, so I'm jumping in. It was a crazy situation, but it's all little things like that. It's the flight, etc. Home field advantage is absolutely significant in the NFL.
Dude, the problem was they had to put Josh Dobbs in the game. I think Josh Dobbs actually could have went and fixed that machine.
Dude, he looked terrible.
Dude, he's ridiculously smart though.
Isn't he an astronaut?
He's I think rocket scientist.
I'm glad he's got something to fall back on because football ain't gonna work out for you, Josh. It was the first pass of the day, Josh Dobbs, he's got a wide open guy in a crossing slant and he missed him by 5 yards behind him. And I'm just watching the game oh, that's not going to hit very well. And so
this is the rare dude who his team will give him a full game in preseason. And you're and whenever you could get a quarterback that's playing a full game in preseason DFS, you're but then if it's Josh Dobbs, you're I don't know, man, I don't know. Should I just play the defense against them?
Can we get 6 quarters? Is 6 quarters possible?
That might not even be enough.
Well, Reeves, what do you think about Lamar Jackson then? Because on FanDuel, he's pretty priced up. DK, though, he's still priced under $6K, man. Like, I got to have some interest in Lamar in this spot.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he's priced pretty properly for what the performance you've got, like Evan said, and that's basically been his floor. I mean, this is what the Ravens are going to do. And you could talk about them playing soft defenses that they played so far, but offensively, his rushing output, which has led to all of his fantasy points, they're pretty unfadable. Like there's that, they're going to be able to successfully get him to rush for 70 yards against just about anyone, because you still have to play a regular defense. I mean, he's going to eventually hit some of these long throws he's missed. The problem with him right now is he's really struggled getting the ball to wide receivers and passes on the boundary. He's under 50% on passes to the boundaries, over the middle field 70%. Wide receivers 29 of 58 completions. If he starts hitting some of these throws and getting to that boost, his ceiling's going to rise. I think he's already at his floor. He's priced at his floor. You're getting that type of production. The runs are designed runs, so they're going to keep coming. That's unlike Josh Allen's, we talk about Josh Allen's that hair on fire guy that is scrambling under pressure, getting these. That's why Lamar also isn't getting these chunk runs. You're not seeing him get these 30-yard runs because they're designed runs. They're typical run plays. He's not bailing out of the pocket.
Doesn't it feel like those?
Eventually he's gonna break one. I mean, this is a dude that ran for more yards in college than Saquon Barkley. Eventually he's going to pop one. But that's why you haven't seen the types of yardage per carry in comparison like a guy like Josh Allen, because Josh Allen's getting his yards off scrambles. Defenders are turning their backs to him, and he's taking off down the field, getting these chunk runs. I think Josh Allen has 6 carries of 20 or more yards the past 3 games, which is pretty crazy. It's tied for the NFL lead. But that's why you're not seeing Lamar get those chunk plays. But his floor is ultra safe. He's the only guy you can look to, I think, on the Ravens side. You just look to him, and then because it's just a hodgepodge of parts outside of him.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I want to like John Brown. Like, he was somebody that early in the season I was playing a ton, but with Joe Flacco not playing, I just struggle to see a way I can play John Brown. This running back situation. Evan, what do we do here? Because Gus Edwards, he was the guy for a little bit. Now it looks like Kenneth Dixon is going to take over. I don't even know what the majority of carries is going to be because they have Ty Montgomery there as well. So what do we do with this running back situation, or do we just ignore it?
In the great words of the great Davis Maddock.
Bye-bye.
Now wave.
Oh, the now wave. Sorry, I always give the bye-byes.
I know.
So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Now wave used to be a thing. I guess it kind of fell out of favor, but we're bringing it back. No, I mean, I think that, just don't play anyone. I mean, you could kind of talk yourself into Kenneth Dixon in a season long, I think. I don't even think in the season long I could play Gus Edwards right now. Really the big, just from a game standpoint, I think the biggest concern right now, and I would like to hear Reeves' opinion before we move on to the next one, is can the Ravens' rushing offense just straight control this game? And, the Ravens have had games where, they have twice as many plays or at least double time possession with Lamar Jackson. Was it against Atlanta? And one of the teams, they doubled the time of possession, dude. It was 40-20. And so that's a really big concern for everyone on the Bucs. That and in addition to the fact that the Bucs have not stopped the run in weeks. So what do you think about that, Reeves?
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest concern when you look at the plays outside of last week and Lamar Jackson starts. They ran 21 more plays the first game than the Bengals ran. Then they ran 13 more plays than Oakland ran. But remember, they also had 2 defensive touchdowns that game. And then they ran 32 more plays than the Falcons ran with a defensive touchdown in that game. And then last week they were negative 15 on plays against the Chiefs. So there's definitely concern. You got a Tampa Bay team coming on the road. I mean, Baltimore's defensive history in Baltimore against quarterback play over the past 3 years is pretty unreal in the amount of ceiling games they allow. So I think that's your biggest concern here is that forgetting that Tampa Bay 40-point road game. I think that's the problem because what the Ravens are going to be able to do well is, like you said, it's going to be they're going to matriculate the ball, and that's going to be a problem here, kind of like we see the Cowboys do every week.
Yeah, this game kind of feels like it'd be could be 35-7, and just even though the Ravens put up 35 points, nobody gets there. I still wonder. I mean, Reeves, am I just being paranoid? Like, I'm really concerned about Lamar Jackson's ceiling.
I mean, I'm not really concerned about where, because you're talking about him just being like a cash game viable play, where his price is at.
I think he's a great cash play, and I've been saying this for a while. We're like,
yeah. So he's priced just for what you're going to get. So I think he's just really good cash game play. I don't know if he's a great tournament play, but I think he's fine to take a shot. It's when it happens you're going to get a big one.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, it looks like we lost Evan for a second. So Reeves, it's just you and I, buddy. It's just you and I, big boy. That's all right. Let's talk Dallas at the Colts. Hey, welcome back, Evan. It's good to see you, buddy.
I thought you said Big Vern.
I did not say.
He came right back. Big
Vern's here. Big Vern. By the way, we are getting a lot of support on Twitter for us to be on air during the playoffs. Like I love
that. Thanks so much, guys. Yeah. I mean, that means the world. That means the world.
Yeah, except for one guy.
DFS is the best.
Oh my! It's so good. It's so cool. It's like playoff NBA. Like NBA, like the ability to win it. NBA just goes downhill, and then playoffs comes in and just shoots up again. It's great.
Anything where I have to get more coaxed into playing more bad players to get edge in the field is my kind of game.
I'll tell you, dude. If you're gonna feel like you have to play bad players, I'm the guy you need to be doing shows with. Like I find more successful shitty players than anybody out there.
Isn't that like really the edge at this point? I mean,
yes.
Yeah, it's finding Matt Lacoste to pay the boss at this point.
Oh my God, Matt Lacoste
sucks. All right, sorry, you're right.
I told you, man. Like he's replaced.
Shouldn't have brought up his name.
Yeah, he's replaced Case Keenum as the guy that's going to cause me to walk off the set.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay. By the way, you want a cheap play this weekend that nobody's going to play? Robbie Anderson. Thank me later. All right, let's talk.
No, but seriously, that Saturday only slate.
I love it.
It's kind of hot, isn't it? I think it's kind of hot.
I love that Saturday only slate.
Yeah, I love the Saturday only slate.
Yep. Everybody's going to play.
It's like a miniature. It's like a miniature Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Oh, it's exactly what it is. Everybody's going to play Watson. I actually like Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold.
And Keenum.
I'm not, dude.
No,
really,
no.
I just wanted the reaction. I just wanted the reaction.
Just and lock in Philip Lindsay, but everybody knows to do that. All right,
I like Robbie Anderson, man. Robbie Anderson's a dope pick.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable pick against that Texans defense where the outside corners cannot run.
Dude,
we talked about it last week on the show, man.
I know.
I needed one guy. I still needed a wide receiver for the semifinals in my high stakes league. You better believe I picked up Robbie Anderson. He's playing for me.
Nice. Yeah, Tim Patrick's a good play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't mind.
Cortland Sutton is dust. Hopefully a lot of people play him.
Yeah, I think he's a big time mistake. He's going to be. Yeah, I don't like Cortland Sutton. All right, we got to move on. I don't know.
Fine.
I'm talking about the Saturday slate though. All right, Dallas and Indy, 46.5 point total. The Colts at home, they're 2.5 point favorites. And Evan, like, one of the nice things about this game is we know exactly where the production's going to be. On Dallas, it's going to be Zeke getting 30 touches a game. It's going to be Amari Cooper who just keeps blowing up. On the Colts side, it's going to be T.Y. Hilton and Eric Ebron. So let's start with the Dallas side. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott will probably be my highest owned player this week. I'm really struggling to find a way he won't be because, I mean, the matchup is great. He's going to catch a ton of dump offs against this team. Like, is there anything not to like about Zeke this week?
I mean, I can paint a devil's advocate case against him.
All right, go ahead. I'll cry.
I don't want to.
All right, fair enough.
I'm looking at are they dogs?
Like 2.5. They're 2.5 point dogs.
Okay. So that means that the books are like it's pretty much even because I know that the
advantage 3 points. So yeah,
it's considered to be 3. I think it's more like 2.75. But either way. So they're considered to be like even teams, which makes sense to me, although I think that a lot of people might scoff at that. I think that the general public right now views Dallas as a superior team. I would lean that way, I think, because I think that people still have no respect for the Colts defense.
And I think people just saw Dallas have a big game on
prime. And we've seen them play a bunch of primetime games recently against the Eagles on Thanksgiving, 2 games against the Eagles in prime time. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. The Colts have been really good against the run over the last 5 games. Now they have not faced elite rushing teams, although they did shut down.
Well, I mean, this is who they played: Houston, Jacksonville,
Yeah.
Miami, Tennessee, Jacksonville, Oakland, Buffalo,
Right.
Jets, New England. I mean, the last decent
Yeah.
running back they faced was James White or Leonard Fournette, but isn't that where Leonard Fournette got kicked out?
I was just going to say,
or he was suspended.
Fournette did not play in that game.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just like they haven't
Is
faced
that
any.
correct, Reeves? I'm losing.
That was the week we had the Carlos Hyde trap. Remember?
Oh God, Carlos Hyde, worst play ever in the history.
Easily, people wanted to play him.
Worst play ever.
Since week 6, who's the best running back that the Colts have faced? Lamar Miller, Kenyon Drake, Deion Lewis. I mean, seriously, find me a good running back in this. LaShawn McCoy, who's dead to me. I mean, I don't see a good one here.
Yeah.
To be fair, Houston had been running on everyone.
Yep, they had been.
But, I mean, I just feel like Zeke in that Cowboys rushing game is one we don't really get over wrapped up in because they're going to do what they do on offense.
All right, I know, but I said I was going to paint a devil's advocate. So
keep painting, baby.
You didn't do a very good job.
Picasso up, man.
Okay, I mean, all I have to say is they're road dogs, and the run defense that they're facing has been kind of good lately against crap rushing offenses. So that's all I have to say. All right,
Yeah,
Crane.
I mean,
Look, he's on my high stakes team. I'm rooting for him. I'm probably playing him in DFS this week. You asked me to, are there reasons to not play him? I tried to come up with something. There it was.
all right. Well, I'm not convinced. I'm still playing Zeke everywhere, and I know you are too, Evan. Are you doing the same, Reeves?
Yeah, man, because for some reason it took 2.5 years, but the Cowboys finally figured out they were allowed to throw the football to Zeke Elliott.
Good job, Jason Garrett. Who's such a good Jason Garrett?
I mean, since week 9, he has 42 receptions. He has 40 catches. Only Christian McCaffrey has more. The next closest running back has 27 catches. They finally realized this guy could catch the football, and their offense is a lot better when they take easy completions. Dak Prescott plays better. I know Amari Cooper's addition is getting all the credit for the Cowboys' turnaround, but them getting the ball successfully to Zeke Elliott on early downs in the passing game has made a world of difference. A guy like Warren Sharp has highlighted the importance of this for offensive efficiency. And it's made a world of difference for this Cowboys team. The way they've actually had rational coaching since maybe it was just getting Amari Cooper and they had to move some chairs around. But Zeke catching the football out of the backfield has been a big deal for that offense.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, too, because, I was reading a stat earlier. I think it was in Scott Barrett's column where he was talking about that over the last 4 weeks where Zeke has total PPR totals of 34, 25, 28, 36. He's only had 4 carries inside the 10. It's insane because it almost feels, Evan, like Zeke has been leaving points on the field despite these massive games.
Okay.
It's because they suck in the red zone.
I think he's been balling. Yeah.
Oh, he has been balling, but he's only got, 4 carries inside the 10. He could have been doing way more.
Yeah, they're 30th in red zone conversion rate, and that still doesn't change. That's why their points per game have stayed the same with Amari Cooper, even though their yardage is up 80 yards a game.
So what about Amari Cooper? Because obviously we all like Zeke. Yeah. Amari's just been balling. Is this a matchup where you're going to be targeting Amari?
I think Amari's a good cash game play on FanDuel, probably a fade everywhere else. He's wide receiver 12 on DK now, where he's wide receiver 22 on FanDuel if you're talking Thursday through Monday slates. Just 44.8% of the catches against the Colts this season have gone to wide receiver. It's the lowest rate in the league. We've talked about it ad nauseum on the show, the type of defense they play. They don't give up big plays. I think it's a game where Amari can be a good cash game play since he's had a high floor. The targets have been there. And he can hit that cash game value, but I don't think it's a game where you're going to see him put that 180 up. It's going to be more like the games he was having prior, the 6 or 75s, one of those types of games. It's like that on the other side, too. The Cowboys are another team that just don't give up big games, wide receivers, because they don't give up big plays in the passing game. I think it's a game where Amari's probably going to be probably over-owned for his price, definitely on DK at that 7,500 price. Probably not investing there at all. I probably won't even have him on my player pool, to be honest.
Okay, so you mentioned the Colts side, and Evan, talk to me about these Colts pass catchers, because again, Reeves just brought up Dallas doesn't really give up the big play through the passing game. So T.Y. Hilton, it's a little bit concerning with him because he's somebody that, what do we want with him? We want that boom play. And if that's not really available in the Cowboys, is it an Eric Ebron week? Because the Cowboys, it's it's tough for me to want to play too many guys against the Cowboys defense because that defense has been pretty good. Where would you target Dallas, and where do you expect the Colts to?
So I think that it's very simple analysis with the Colts. Okay, first of all, Amari Cooper, like his price went down 300 from last week on FanDuel. His price went down 300 from last week on FanDuel. Should I say it again?
Yes.
His price went down 300 on FanDuel from last week.
Well, he should have had a better game.
Underachiever, hey, ever since he came out of Alabama, his heart wasn't in it.
That's what I keep hearing.
He since the Cowboys acquired him, he leads the NFL in receiving yards and receiving touchdowns, and he is averaging 9 targets a game. His price went down on FanDuel. Okay, we'll leave it at that. We don't need any more analysis beyond that. With the Colts, like it's very easy. It's very easy. It's Ebron and Hilton. You're really not looking at anybody else. Don't chase points on Zach Pascal. For the love of God, like Dontrell Inman is coming back this week. Zach Pascal is going to be the 4. He's going to be the 4 this week because it's Inman, Hilton, and Chester Rogers in their 3 receiver set. And then it's, Eric Ebron. Eric Ebron, by the way, had 2 drops last week. His second and third of the season. He has not been dropping passes this year. Cowboys allow the second most catches per game to opposing tight ends, 8th most receiving yards per game.
Okay, so we're saying we like Eric Ebron.
We should play Eric Ebron every week. I think we've said that every week on the show. We play him every week. Okay, you're getting a dude who's like leading an Andrew Luck quarterback team in targets. Certainly in red zone and scoring position targets. You play him every single week until he's up priced where he should. In Jack Doyle's missed games, Eric Ebron is averaging 10.7 targets per game, okay? That would lead all tight ends across the NFL. He should be priced right there with Travis Kelce. I mean, honestly, and he's not priced there.
He's not, yeah.
He's not. T.Y. Hilton is a little bit tougher. I mean, the matchup is legit kind of difficult. Again, Reeves talked about how the Cowboys don't give up big plays. They don't. Their secondary is really freaking good. They get a lot of pressure on the quarterback, which doesn't help. But, this is the Colts at home especially are the kind of team to keep this kind of a defense at bay because they can protect their quarterback. Mm-hmm. They have allowed the lowest sack rate and the 6th lowest QB hit rate in the NFL. They get to play at home where offensive lines tend to perform better. And also they're very aware of their strengths and weaknesses. This is what, one of the aspects that makes Frank Reich like such a great coach is that he's very, he understands where his team is bad and good and he adjusts for that, and he also is very good at diagnosing the opponent. And dude just spent multiple years in the same division as the Cowboys, coaching for the Eagles. What happened to the Eagles when they lost Frank Reich? What happened to the Colts when they got Frank Reich? So
I didn't know we were getting sound effects.
Those are solid. Those are legit.
Well done.
They were real good. Just like the Colts offense in the pass protection. T.Y. Hilton. So he has been his slot reps are down recently, but it's not bad though. It's it's a quarter slot routes, getting a quarter of his targets since the bye week. And we love him inside against Anthony Brown. He's going to have to deal with Byron Jones and Chidobe Awuzie on the outside, but he's small and he's quick, and those dudes are big, So, and you love T.Y. Hilton at home, man. You love him indoors. So I think I love Luck, I love Hilton, and I love Ebron, and just don't mess around with anybody else in the Colts.
Yeah, that's one of the best things about this game. We know exactly where the production's going to go. By the way, we have some breaking news. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this on the old Twitter machine, but according to Cal Spears, according to Dan Bach, we are in for playoff pick 6, baby. We're good to go.
Woo!
Yeah. Thank you. I was wondering. I was like, are you guys just sitting there quietly? I'm like, are you guys actually disappointed? Now, there's no confirmation that we're going to be able to get Kobe Fleener on there with us, but we're definitely going to try and make that happen. We need Kobe on a show. All right, let's talk about a game where I'm sure Kobe Fleener is going to be watching. He's the man. It's Pittsburgh at New England, 51.5-point total. The Patriots are 2-point favorites. And, this is the game, Reeves, that everybody's going to stack. It's the highest total on this slate by quite a bit. We have James Conner questionable for Pittsburgh. Initially, it looked like he wasn't going to play. Now there's some reports that he's walking around the facility without a limp and everything. I don't know what to make of that. But what do we do with this Pittsburgh side? Because, it's kind of like we talked about with the Colts. It's just a few guys here. It's either Jalen Samuels or James Conner, depending on who gets the start. It's Juju, who we love, and it's Antonio Brown, who's going to be unowned. So, Reeves, what are you looking at on the Pittsburgh side?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I don't think we've talked about either of these teams much on this show based on these teams play so many primetime games, and we usually pick games from the main slate just to talk about. So we haven't really talked about a Patriots or Steelers so far this year, it feels like. But I think the Steelers side is pretty interesting in this game. Actually, both sides are, obviously. But we talk about home road splits and a lot on this show. And we know Ben is obviously better at home. And the Patriots defense has actually pretty much no-showed on the road this year, especially in the passing game. Opposing passers are averaging 22 fantasy points per game against them in their home field and 294 passing yards per game with New England traveling, as opposed to just 15.6 fantasy points and 248 passing yards in New England. So, I mean, we're going to have Ben in a hot spot where we usually play him. He's priced pretty far up there, though, up the boards this week. I'm real curious to see how the Patriots handle these Pittsburgh receivers. I think the initial inkling is we can go back 2 weeks ago to how they handled the Vikings receivers. But the difference here is that Juju Smith-Schuster has not been playing in the slot a lot. His slot snaps have been cut in half since they've been playing Ryan Switzer. And he's been playing strictly on the outside. He only has 46 yards in the slot over his past 4 games. If he's going to be on the boundary, it's a lot harder to bracket him with the McCourty brothers, like what they did with Adam Thielen. So we're going to have the Patriots maybe not be able to devise that type of game plan when their Steelers are in 3+ wide receiver sets. So that's going to be an interesting element. Historically, Bill Belichick has let Antonio Brown be single covered in these games. It was always Malcolm Butler. We'll see if he's going to let Stephon Gilmore just chase Antonio Brown. But Antonio Brown's had a ton of success. He's averaged 20.3 PPR points per game in his 5 games versus the Patriots. So if they're going to let him run around one-on-one, and we talk about, again, the home road splits, AB's been a lot better at home in Pittsburgh than Juju has, where Juju's been a lot better on the road. So, I mean, AB looks to be like where the signal is going to. But I'm curious to hear Evan's take on it.
Yeah, Evan, I want to hear what you have to say because it seems to me like everybody's going to play Juju. I mean, that's the feeling you get, isn't it?
Well, because they're going to look at slot Patriots versus the slot, but not realize that Juju's at he was playing 80% of his snaps in the slot.
He's been outside for weeks.
Yeah, well, so, I mean, if everybody's playing Juju, and I understand that Stephon Gilmore shadowing Antonio Brown is somewhat of a concern, but, Antonio Brown against man shadow coverage.
Bryce Butler beat Stephon Gilmore for a touchdown last week.
I did not get to see that one, but I'm just saying that
DJ Duffelbag was in there.
I love you. Just have the most random ass names, and I love it.
Yeah, what is DJ Duffelbag? Is that
that's his real? That's his real. So Bryce Butler is an actual traveling DJ, and that's his handle.
You said that on multiple shows, and I'm always like, what, bro, what?
Please tell me.
I thought I was in the midst of a Bryce Butler fan.
No. It's sorry. You're thinking of a different Butler. You're thinking Chris Butler, the St. Louis Blues defense.
I think I need Levitan for that.
Yeah, that is definitely something Levitan would know. You ain't lying there. Okay, so Evan, you kind of shook your head when I said that people are going to be concerned about Antonio Brown, and I'm sitting here thinking if Juju's going to have 3 times the ownership as Antonio Brown, I think that's what's going to happen. I'm really interested in Brown. What about you?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm interested to see how the Patriots defend him, honestly. Josh Hornsby, Fantasy ADHD, put up a poll the other day, and the results of it was like, who is Belichick going to treat as the Steelers number 1? And the results were 59% AB and 41% Juju. And, everyone thinks they know, so oh, you're an idiot if you don't think it's Antonio Brown, but I mean, all this stuff is like kind of nebulous. The NFL is very very random. Like I put up a very, a tweet recently about NFL executives of the year, and like all those NFL executives of the year, like they had, one great year and then like they got fired within the next 3 years, and so like no one really knows. And that's what makes NFL and it trickles up, I should say, to DFS. But the randomness of the sport, it makes it, we're always on a moving target, and it makes analysis of the sport very difficult. But I think that the results of that poll, actually 59% AB, 41% Juju, I think that's actually a pretty good assessment of, who's he going to treat as the number one. But at the end of the day, I think he's going to stick Stephon Gilmore one-on-one on AB. And I think that AB can win that matchup. And Juju gets Jason McCourty with help. And I think that anyone struggles to win that matchup. So, but also like Belichick will adjust during the game. So that's another thing that you can't really account for. So, look, I mean, it's an awesome game. I'm really excited about it. The Steelers receivers, for as crazy as this sounds, they are like the least interesting guys to me. I love Julian Edelman.
Oh, yeah, it's tough not to. I mean, like, Julian Edelman had a big week last week. Gronk.
Do you like 15 catches?
I mean, not. I was playing against him in my other league, so no. But, yeah, I like him if I'm playing him in DFS. That's for damn sure. And Tom Brady turned back the clock. I've been saying he's washed, and Tom Brady. I'll tell you what, had I not said he's washed, I bet he just would have mailed that performance in. So you're welcome, Tom.
Hey, I think Jalen Samuels is interesting if Connor's out again, because I think a lot of people are going to feel like that they were let down by him a little bit last week, even though for the price, obviously, it was great. But he outsnapped Stephen Ridley 48-8 in that game. I mean, obviously, he lost the short touchdown, which is problematic for ceiling. But where have we always wanted to attack the Patriots, man? It's with backs out of the backfield and attack those linebackers. And I feel like Jalen Samuels might give them a bigger edge this week as far as a game planning stance than if Connor was to even be fully healthy, or for Connor to play at 80%, not even play, at 100%. So, I mean, I think Jalen Samuels is pretty interesting. I think he went up to 57 on DK, which I think is still a lot.
That's a steal.
That's a lot to squeeze. I think because just receiving wise, when you look at last week, he had 7 catches. The Patriots are 26 in receptions allowed per game to backfields. I think it's a game where if Samuels is coming in as a clear cut starter, we know that he's going to outsnap Ridley like he did last week in a game that could pop more without Josh Dobbs getting series. It is a potential for him to still meet that quota, and a lot of people will think will balk at him getting up to 57.
I mean, like, to me, if I don't care whoever starts at running back, I just hope the only thing I don't want to hear is James Conner's good enough to give him some carries. Like, that's going to be the one thing where I'm just going to be like, are you kidding me? Because, like, I want either Connor to be 100% and come in there, because people aren't going to play Connor coming off of an injury. That won't happen. So if Connor's healthy and he plays, I'm going to load up on him. If Connor's out, I'm loading up on Samuels. Because, Reeves, you're right. This is exactly how we've been attacking New England all season. It didn't really work out with Kenyon Drake last week until the last play of the game. But the week before, Dalvin Cook had a big game at no ownership. Week before that, they played, the Jets. I'm not worried about anybody on the Jets. Before that, it was the Deion Lewis disappointment week. So to me, this is a phenomenal match for either one of these running backs. And Evan, I'm going to load up on whichever one starts.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I mean, I'm very excited about this game,
okay.
and it's Jalen Samuels and it's Julian Edelman, and it's Brady a little bit and it's Ben a little bit, and it's maybe Gronk, Gronk. Although Gronk, he looked like trash last week, but you know what? When you're getting, and he's got 7+ targets in 5 of his last 7, or I think it's in 6 of his last 8. And you're facing a team that, plays zone and is just like so beholden to their scheme that they don't adjust for the opponent. Like, and that's why we saw Keenan Allen shred him. And you know what? Like, before, like Warren Sharp and other people highlighted the fact that the Steelers were covering Keenan Allen with linebackers. Like,
Oh, Bud Dupree, get out there. Oh,
Yo,
get out.
the Patriots have been exploiting this for years, homie. Like, they've been doing this for years. You go back and watch Julian Edelman tape against the Steelers, man. They cover him with Lawrence Timmons, dude. And he racks up catches. In his last 3 games, he's got 8, 9, and 11 catches in his last 3 games against the Steelers. Patriots have been well aware of this, and this is why, slot receivers have crushed the Steelers all year. And, even though they actually do have a good slot corner in Mike Hilton, they play man on the outside and they play zone on the inside. And so, hey, if Keenan Allen just breaks off his route a little bit and goes over there, he's drawing Vince Williams in coverage, okay, as opposed to Mike Hilton. So, you just do option routes. And what's the Patriots, trademark? Option routes. So, Edelman, I think that if you could get his catch total like as a prop bet at 7.5, man, I would rock that over. Just rock it hard.
So, Reeves, when we look at the Patriots side, what are some of the plays that you're looking at? Obviously, we like Edelman. I think Gronk is interesting. I was writing my article last week, and I said specifically, I think Gronk is going to be more popular than he should be, and I think he's going to be a bust. So, oops, that didn't work out. So, what do you think about this Patriots side, Reeves?
I got on Gronk late in the week last week, and it worked out. It worked out, so I was pretty happy with that. And like everyone talked about, we know – so the Steelers just play one style of defense. They don't come out of it. They get crushed in the middle of the field. Tight ends have accounted for 24.6% of the catches against the Steelers. That's 27th in the league. They've accounted for 25.5% of the receiving yards against the Steelers. That's 25th in the league. Historically, the Steelers have not cared about Julian Edelman and Rob Gronkowski just completely obliterating them. They've never done anything to alter their plan. Gronk has played the Steelers 6 times. And granted, it was a younger Gronk. It wasn't like this version of this year where he looks like a surfboard running routes. But he's got 8 touchdowns. And
how bad did you look on that tackle attempt against Kenyon Drake?
Oh my god!
Man! What Listen, we give a hat tip to B squared a lot, but having him on the field instead of Josh Gordon, that probably was a difference between a win and a loss.
Crane, I have no doubt that you have better lateral agility than Gronk right now.
I'm nimble. You would be stunned. See. Wait. Boom. You just saw. Here, watch this again. So fast.
I didn't even see it.
Thank you. I know, it's unbelievable. By the way, Evan, you missed our talk pre-show. Let's just say that was a very, very expensive Kenyon Drake run for me. Very expensive. So we'll move on. All right. Yeah, we like all the guys in this game. All right, let's talk about some of our favorite quarterbacks on the slate, because on this main slate, it's golly, it's pretty ugly. Reeves, what other quarterbacks do you have for me? Because can we possibly go back to Kirk Cousins after last week?
No, his price went up. We haven't talked about a bad player yet. You ready? You want to talk about some bad players?
Wait, hold on. Are you going to Jeff Driscoll?
I know, baby.
Are you going to Derek Carr?
Dalvin.
No.
Are you going?
The lower.
Who's the Ferkser?
Trubisky?
Oh, do not say Jarwin.
Oh, we didn't even talk about Jarwin when we talked about the Colts game. We should have.
There's a reason that
we're talking about quarterbacks.
Josh Johnson?
I don't know. He'd be fun if he wasn't playing the Jaguars.
Eli?
No, man. Nick Mullins, baby.
Oh, stop it.
4,800. Listen, no, he's got 17 or more fantasy points in 3 of his 5 starts. He's over 4-14 and 332 yards the past 2 games. Seattle, outside of nuking the primetime Kirk Cousins that once again showed up last night, allowed 17 or more fantasy points to 6 straight passers before that, including Mullins himself. They're coming off a Monday night game on the road, which has historically been a letdown spot. He's 4,800. We already want to play Dante Pettis. It's the cheapest stack you got on the board for points. 4,800, man.
Just so you know, we're not
rock my world.
Not convinced. Not convinced.
No, that's something. Let's see. Give me a cheapie, Evan. Who you got? Anybody? Are you on this? What do you think about this Raiders Bengals game? Can we play either of these guys?
Driscoll, bro.
I figured you seemed like you would like Driscoll. You seem like a Driscoll kind of guy.
Yeah, I actually haven't even I have been saving this game as the last one that I write up, but just I've been thinking about it a lot though, and I'm like, I kind of want to love Driscoll.
All I'm saying is that this Dallas-Indianapolis game is going to be incredibly chalky, right? Everybody's playing guys from this
really
game.
And it could be like a game where there's a lot of low volume. It could be not that hot of a game. It could be a game where T.Y. gets 5 for 70 and Luck throws one touchdown and 265 yards.
God,
and,
that would be bad.
Zeke gets 112 yards and maybe a touchdown. It could be one of those games.
Yeah, I mean, when I say that people are playing this game, this is what I mean. Right now in RotoGrinders, the highest projected running back on DraftKings, Ezekiel Elliott. The highest projected wide receiver, T.Y. Hilton. The second highest projected wide receiver, Amari Cooper. The highest projected on tight end, Eric Ebron. I mean, that game is going to be stupid chalky. Meanwhile, go over to Oakland, Cincinnati, the exact same total. The home team is the exact same 2.5-point favorite. And this game's going to have no ownership whatsoever. So I ask you, Evan, give me a play from this game. I don't give a damn if it's quarterback or what. Give me a play from this game.
What game?
Cincy and Oakland, baby.
I just gave you one. Driscoll, bro.
I need more. Who am I pairing him with?
Doug Martin.
Oh,
stop, Reeves.
So since Doug Martin's been the starting running back, he has the second most carries inside the 10 in the NFL. He's playing a team that's allowed 20 touchdowns to running backs.
Man, okay.
Oh, no, you're going to talk me into Doug Martin.
Only Christian McCaffrey has more rushing attempts since he's been the starting running back inside the 10-yard line. He scored in 3 straight games. Bengals run D. Doug Martin.
All right, so we'll do – what about the Jeff Driscoll, John Ross, Jared Cook game stack?
Yeah, Cook is a good play.
Not Ross, dude. Not Ross.
All right, am I going to –
Ross is terrible.
Ross is
I've played worse players than John Ross.
I mean, no, dude.
No, I haven't.
Yo, he's real bad. I mean, he probably goes off this game, because I'm just saying this, but
the Raiders are pretty good against boundary receiver play.
They have been recently, haven't they? Although that also could be chalked up to Antonio Brown's washiness.
So washed. That's what I've heard. He's like the number 8 receiver on the Steelers now, right?
But a lot of speed guys haven't hit off them, though. Hilton didn't have a good game against them. Tyreek didn't.
That was on Tyreek, though, man.
Yeah, Tyreek played awful that game. He was horrendous.
Awful.
Well, Tyreek's like that. So as good as Tyreek is, sometimes the old Tyreek not hit ball skills show up sometimes.
All right, let's talk some running backs. And one guy I'm looking at, and I don't think anybody's going to go here because
I had one more QB.
Oh wait, who is it?
If you're playing Thursday through Monday, man, Jared Goff is priced down.
Yes.
He's got he's another guy that has really bonkers home road splits this year. 18 with 27 passing touchdowns to come home. I wish Wentz was playing in this game now. That's what kind of gives me a little shit. His price went way down. He's shredded at home. The Eagles have allowed the highest completion percentage in the NFL since they came back from bye. They're playing JUCO players in their secondary. They've just been getting shredded by everyone. So don't forget about Jared Goff on that slate.
Don't forget about Jared Goff.
The Goff to Cooks connection is the one that I'm going to be targeting there, just because of the Eagles' second.
Or Woods too.
I mean, look, you're fine either way. But if I had to pick one,
or Gurley,
Flipper Anderson, I'd mix some Flipper Anderson in. I'd get Flipper Anderson involved.
I thought Gurley was
washed here, Hakeem.
Ricky, rock and roll, Ricky Prohl. Is that what we're doing over here now?
Rock and roll, Ricky Prohl.
All right, let's talk some running backs real quick. One guy I have interest in, and I want to tell you guys if I'm not.
Ernie Conwell.
God, here we go. You gotta get the fake kick to Jeff Wilkins. Is that what's gonna happen right now? Just takes me back to my high school days. Talking about David Johnson, because this is a spot where I can't imagine people are playing David Johnson because they're going to see the Falcons as 9-point home favorites. People are going to say, well, I'm going to want to play the Falcons defense. And meanwhile, David Johnson, pass catching running back, still destroy the Falcons. And it feels like this might be the week people forget that. Evan, you're shaking your head. What do you think about DJ?
No. I'm on your side.
Okay. That's what I meant. You were saying up and down. Sorry.
Yeah. Season highs in routes run, targets, and catches last week. We won't mention that. We'll say it softly. He only had 12 receiving yards, but he had a lot of catches and a lot of targets and a lot of routes last week. And that's what we want to see from our running backs against the Falcons in Week 13. Look, I was watching the game live and I got shook by Chase Edmonds, vulturing all these touchdowns. Anyone would, man.
Ain't gonna happen again.
look at the box score, you watch the game, and it was especially shook me because it was like Chase Edmonds had touchdowns called back, and they didn't sub him out, they left him in, and David Johnson didn't come in, and they were trying to feature Chase Edmonds, it seemed, but Chase Edmonds got 3 touches last week. David Johnson had 88% of the snaps, and now he gets a very good matchup against Atlanta, which not only has gotten smashed by receiving backs, but also has been terrible against the run, period. Could Arizona go to Atlanta and upset them?
I don't
think that's crazy. I don't think that's crazy. I really don't. These teams have nothing to play for, man, except for Hart. And Dan Quinn, the head coach of the Falcons, has already talked about how he wants to play younger players. He wants to start playing younger players. Ito Smith has out-touched Tevin Coleman in consecutive games. Saw a little bit of Brian Hill last week. We saw a little bit of Eric Saubert last week.
Don't have his rookie card.
We saw some Justin Hardy last week, okay? I think they're going to sit Hooper this week, by the way. I think they're going to sit Austin Hooper, and they're going to play Eric Saubert as their tight end. That remains to be seen. It's only Wednesday. But, they're not trying to win the game. So, and Steve Wilks is trying to save his job. Dan Quinn doesn't have necessarily job security concerns. Steve Wilks does, because this has been one of the worst coach teams in the NFL. Everyone knows it. So
wait, Evan, are you saying that I need to be concerned about my Falcons defense in season long?
No, I mean,
okay, good.
No, they're
don't scare me like that, buddy. Don't scare me like that. All right, Reeves, real quick, give me some other running backs.
The entire Arizona offensive line is on injured reserve.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, Reeves, some other running backs. Who you got?
We forgot about when we were talking about the game. Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon's really good this week. He looks pretty good. Coming off a season high 31 touches. Now he's a home favorite probably for the last time all year. Dalvin Cook looking all right. I mean,
I always love Dalvin.
He's been kind of floating. He's in the top 10 running back. The problem is he's doing it through the receiving game, and we've kind of chased this Miami matchup. Hasn't paid off a couple weeks in a row with Sony Michel and LaShawn McCoy, but they haven't really traveled well either. So, I mean, he's priced so cheap, I think he's worth a shot, especially in a site like FanDuel where he's 62. That's really it. I mean, we talked about most of it.
No Leonard Fournette?
I think Fournette's all right. The problem is that you were talking about the game with the lowest game total in the NFL in 3.5 years. Their offensive line is no healthy players. The left side of their offensive line is just awful right now. It's just completely terrible.
Is it worse than the Redskins' run defense?
It's probably 6 or 1/2. He's going to get a bunch of touches. That game's going to be terrible. I think he's fine. I don't really have a pushback on Leonard Fournette.
How about this? 100 yards.
He's not excited either.
100 yards and 2 touchdowns for Leonard Fournette this week.
Yeah.
Would that surprise you, Evan?
No.
Nah, wouldn't surprise me. All right, real quick, we got to get out of here. We got to get the D train home. So give me 2 receivers, Evan, that we haven't talked about yet that you like.
Ooh, oh man.
All right, I'll go to Reeves first. That's okay.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Well, Dante Pettis.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say Dante bleeping Pettis, man. No, stop it.
7 targets in his past 3 games. Seattle's still terrible on the boundaries. I won't back down from this. He's super cheap. Target volume. Why would you fade that? And he's got big play upside. He's 4,400.
All right. He's 55 on FanDuel.
That's that's great. Would you not want to play that?
I know. I was just trying to see if I said it like that. I was hoping that you would just be like, "Oh, okay, I can't do it." No, I see what you're doing. What about? I like Doug Baldwin, by the way. If he's healthy, Doug Baldwin in the slot against San Francisco, I think is interesting on the road. All right, that's one of mine. All right, Evan, give me one for you.
No, we want Baldwin to be out, so we play Tyler Lockett
in the slot. Hey, either way, I'm playing whoever playing the slot against San Francisco.
Yeah. Give me a second here, okay?
All right, back to Reeves. Reeves, give me your second.
Stop. No, Crane. Okay, all right. Robbie Anderson, we mentioned, okay?
Yes.
I think that on that Saturday slate, I don't want to give – you know what? I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to give away the goods on the Saturday slate because it's like Thanksgiving. We're not doing a specific show on the Saturday slate, so I'm not giving it away. I'm not giving away the –
Well, you can tell me after the show. How about that?
Well, listen, you keep DeAndre Carter in your pocket.
Oh, DeAndre Carter. All right. Anyways, let me look at this. Trent Sherfield.
Who the hell is? That's not a real person.
Yeah, he plays on the Cardinals. He led him in receiving last week. You already hit on all the good plays. What are you talking about? Buffalo. Yo, Josh Allen. I know everyone is just hating on Josh Allen. Like they can't grasp the fact that he is awesome in fantasy. There's a difference between fantasy and real life. Okay, the guy he's trash in real life. I mean, let's be real, but he's awesome in fantasy, and so people are like trying to find reasons. They're like digging, like, oh, he doesn't. These called runs are not, they're not designed. Yo, he had on the opening drive last week. He had 4 rushes for 48 yards and a touchdown on the opening drive. Okay. And look, he probably won't have 100 rushing yards this week. That's a bad bet always for a quarterback. But he's gotten it 3 straight weeks, number one. Number two, he should be able to throw the ball on this trash Lions pass defense with Robert Foster, with Zay Jones, with my boy Isaiah McKenzie. I mean, I think that Josh Allen keeps it up, a top 10 fantasy quarterback yet again, and just showing the haters what's up.
All right. Speaking of haters, Evan, stop. Don't let those people make fun of your Oregon Trail computer. All right. I'm seeing on Twitter what's going on. The dude's making, it's just rude to people. All right, guys, we got to get out of here. Before we do that, though, I want to tell you guys a couple things that's going on RotoGrinders. Make sure you check out Yahoo. They are having what is almost for sure the best value tournament in the history of DFS. This weekend, it's a $1 million guaranteed in the prize pool. There's a $250,000 guaranteed overlay. That's right. They are guaranteeing $250,000 in overlay. $20 buy-in, 10 entries max. So you throw $200 in there, you're going to have as much as many. You're going to have as much as any other pro. Definitely check that out. $100,000 for first. Plus, use the promo code Grinders30. You're going to get a $30 matching bonus in Yahoo bucks just for using the promo code Grinders30. Also, you're over on FanDuel, make sure you check out the RotoGrinders single entry series. It's the last week for that. So if you're in the running to win some big bucks over there in the single entry series, you want to make sure and check that out. So it's going to do it for us, though. We got to get off here. We're going to be back next week, of course, and we're going to be back for the playoffs either. We got the promotion. We got the go-ahead from Cal, from Dan. Cam's probably sleeping somewhere, but he would have given us the go-ahead, too, if he was in. But we got to get off here for now. So for Evan, for Reeves, for Kobe Fleener, I'm Eric Crane. We'll see you guys later. Peace.